George Michael's life is one of rare contradictions: massive fame paired with deep privacy, pop perfection, mixed with aching vulnerability, and commercial dominance that never diluted artistic integrity. Few artists have navigated superstardom, personal struggle, and creative evolution with the same depth or left behind such a lasting cultural and musical legacy. George Michael was born on June 25, 1963, in London. His father was a Greek Cypriot restaurateur, his mother an English dancer, two worlds that shaped George's identity early on. Music became his refuge. As a teenager, he was drawn to soul, Motown, and disco, obsessing over artists like Stevie Wonder, Marvin Gaye, and Elton John. At school, George met Andrew Ridgeley, a charismatic and carefree friend who shared his love for music. Their bond was instant. What began as a teenage ambition quickly turned into something bigger than either of them could have imagined.
You met each other at school. What were your first impressions of each other? What did you think of him when you saw him first, George? Keeping it as clean as you can.
Well, it's difficult, really. And what did I first think of him? I thought he was pretty loud. Brash, young
You
thing.
admired him, in other words.
Oh, yeah. I thought, now there's a boy I want to sit next to.
Yeah.
Actually, it's not the truth at all. I was ordered to.
The early 1980s, George and Andrew formed Wham, a duo that perfectly captured the spirit of youth. At first, they were different from everything else in pop. They were bold and joyful and unapologetically fun. While many acts leaned into seriousness or rebellion, Wham celebrated freedom. Their early hits like Young Guns, Go For It, and Wham Rap stood out not just for the sound, but for George's voice, already mature, soulful, and emotionally rich beyond his years. Then came the explosion. Songs like Wake Me Up Before You Go Go, Freedom, and Everything She Wants, and Careless Whisper, Wham became one of the biggest pop acts on the planet. Careless Whisper alone changed George's trajectory forever. It revealed a songwriter capable of heartbreak, restraint, and emotional nuance far deeper than bubblegum pop. And Wham weren't just successful, they were culturally significant. In 1985, they became the first Western pop act to perform in China, symbolizing a new era of global pop culture. But behind the bright colors and stadium crowd, tension was growing.
Well, now the big news, Wham has split up. Now, what's it all about?
Well, basically, I suppose the big news is that it's not really quite time for the big news. What actually happened was about 7 months ago, Andrew and I decided that we thought what we wanted to achieve 4 years ago when we formed the band had been just about achieved, and that whatever we do from now on will be a matter of maintaining and making sure that people don't get a chance to say we're finished. And we thought that wasn't really the way we wanted it to carry on. So we had decided that we'd record a few more singles and we'd like to play Wembley Stadium this summer, and then we were going to actually make an announcement then. I went away to Los Angeles a little while ago, and while I was over there I started to read reports in the papers about certain connections between my management and a company that were buying my management company, and they started to worry me a bit. Some of the political connections started to worry me a bit. So when I came home, I approached my management about it, and they couldn't actually convince me that the press reports were actually untrue.
The breakup of Wham wasn't fueled by scandal or resentment, it was fueled by inevitability. George Michael was evolving faster than the image of Wham allowed. He wanted creative control, emotional depth, and artistic seriousness. Andrew Ridgeley, by contrast, was comfortable with the light-hearted spirit of the duo. Rather than letting things collapse, they chose dignity. In 1986, Wham announced their breakup and performed a final concert. The final at the Wembley Stadium, ending their partnership at its peak. George Michael was ready to stand alone.
Well, I guess it would be nice if I could touch your body. I know not everybody has got a body like you.
In 1987, George released Fate, one of the most important pop albums of the 1980s. It wasn't just a success, it was a statement. Songs like Fate, Father Figure, and One More Try, and Monkey showed range, confidence, and vulnerability. And George wrote and produced and arranged the album himself, proving he wasn't just a pop star, he was a complete artist. Fate sold over 25 million copies worldwide, won the Grammy for Album of the Year, and turned George Michael into a global solo superstar. Yet fame, once again, came with a cost. As George's fame grew, so did his discomfort with celebrity culture. He hated being objectified, misunderstood, and packaged, and this frustration culminated in one of the most iconic artistic statements of the 1990s. In 1990, he released Freedom 90. The music video famously did not feature George at all. Instead, it starred supermodel like Naomi Campbell, Linda Evangelista, lip-syncing the song. It was a symbolic rejection of his manufactured image and a declaration of artistic independence. In the early 1990s, George entered a high-profile legal battle with Sony Music, accusing the label of prioritizing profit over artistry. Though he lost the case, the moment defined him as an artist willing to sacrifice commercial advantage over creative freedom, and this struggle deeply influenced his music, especially the album Listen Without Prejudice, Volume 1, which leaned away from pop spectacle and toward an introspective songwriting.
Just like every other artist in the music industry, I am bound to a very old contract. And that what happens when you are bound to those kind of contracts is that you have that the other party, namely the record company, has an unfair amount of power over your life. The trouble is that it's not that this business for the artist is not like working in an office or working for any company. If you really fall out with the people who control your professional life, you have a right to walk away. Most people, in whatever situation in life, in whatever job, they have a right to say, if you don't want me anymore, if you don't want to work with me anymore, if you don't like the way I work, well, sod you, I'm going somewhere else. I may take a smaller wage packet. I may have to work somewhere I don't like as much as this building. I may have to do all kinds of things I don't want to do, but I'm free to do it. I mean, that is the right, I think that is the right of every individual. And the music industry takes away that right from every artist it signs.
George Michael's life was not without pain. He struggled with depression, substance use, and the pressure of living a private life in a public world. In 1998, he was arrested in Los Angeles for a lewd conduct incident, after which he publicly came out as gay. While the media treated it as scandal, George Michael responded with defiance and humor, later releasing Outside, a disco anthem mocking the ordeal. What could have destroyed him instead became a moment of radical honesty. George's long-term partner Anselmo Filippo died of AIDS-related complication in 1993, a loss that haunted George for the rest of his life. Songs like Jesus to a Child are infused with grief, tenderness, and devotion. As he aged, George became a quieter, more reflective, and deeply generous, often donating anonymously to charities, individuals in need, and causes he believed in. Across his career, George Michael sold over 100 million records worldwide, earned multiple Brit Awards, MTV Awards, and Grammy Awards, and influenced generations of artistic across pop, R&B, and soul. But his true legacy lies beyond numbers. It's in his voice, the warm control, aching. It's in his songwriting, intimate yet universal, and it's his courage to live honestly even when it was difficult. And George Michael died on December 25, 2016, at the age of just 53 from heart and liver complications. The timing, Christmas Day, felt tragically poetic for an artist whose music had become inseparable from the holiday season. Tributes poured in from around the world. Fans, artists, and critics alike recognized what had been lost, and not just a pop star, but once-in-a-generation voice.